Great. We have a question here about cultural nuances, which is fascinating because from the nonverbal side, there are some differences. But so how would I demonstrate presence in a way that acknowledges some of those different cultural nuances if I'm speaking to potentially a global audience?
So, as you said, culture is extremely important, and culture has a huge impact on nonverbal communication. And to be honest, the only way to account for that is education, is to learn about cultural displays, because there would be no point in me trying to explain to you what behaviors are different in different cultures, because it's hundreds and hundreds of different behaviors, from small gestures to big gestures. There's lots of extraordinarily useful universal displays that we can learn, but culture has this way of taking those displays and slightly tweaking them to be appropriate to that culture.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are having an international meeting, be it in person or virtual, it's really important to look up and really do research the cultural displays of that individual. It's also a sign of respect. So when you go to another country and you show their traditional displays, it shows respect, and you can see appreciation straight away because they know that you've taken the time to do that. So I think it's really important to just do the research, and see what displays are slightly different. And it is obviously going to be very difficult, because your natural behaviors are very cultural dependent. We don't realize how much our culture affects our everyday displays. For example, if you show the peace sign in the UK, it means something slightly different in Eastern cultures. It can be very rude and very offensive. And if you don't take the time to go and research that and look that up, you can accidentally offend.
Right. It reminds me of, so I did a big trip to Asia. This was before the pandemic. And there's this book called Kiss, Bow, or Shake Hands that is great about some of the different customs that you might experience within a business context in some of these different countries. And in Asia, there is a huge culture around gift giving. And
Yes.
so it's not a nonverbal per se, but it's a behavior. And we had to spend a lot of time crafting gifts that we could provide that were thoughtful, that were in the right color, right? That were not going to be associated with a color that's associated with death. Like we couldn't give anything black or white. It was like really fascinating, but it did take a lot of research. But it pays off because, as you said, it's such an indication of respect that you recognize that it's a different culture you're going into, you're visiting a different culture, and there are certain cues or certain behaviors that you can be aware of that help you connect more directly with the people that you're visiting. So it's a very powerful question and really interesting thing to consider. Awesome.